Hello, good folks of the internet. This is your hostess, Emily Iris, and my guest series host, KellyAnne. And we're here on Smut. That's Stars, Magic, and Underworld Talk. And today, after we talk about our moonifesting, we will be talking about Venus, the beloved Venus placement, which I bet goes way deeper than you even thought it did. So stoked to get there, but also let's look at this full moon that we have coming up on August 8th. It's a Friday. We love a full moon Friday. And it's going to be in Aquarius too, which is like one of my very favorite tarot cards. The translation for this is my fave. And KellyAnne, you want to lead us in with this magic? Yes.
Yeah, sure do. So I'm working with Mood Tarot here, which spins off of the traditional tarot. And if you are observing the video version of this podcast, and you will see it says good old seven-finger discount. It's a man who is just lunging his way out of some kind of camp of some kind with several swords carried and two in the ground behind. The other card that I've got here for the tarot is from Voyager Tarot, and it's the Seven of Crystals, the Dullness card. So what we were talking about with these Seven of Crystals, Seven of Sword energies is the Aquarian tendency to maybe misbehave a little bit and to rebel, but also to kind of take what you need and take what is what you believe is yours, what you have told yourself is yours, which I think is very sword energy, because swords are associated with mental energies and the mind. So it's kind of like, if you've convinced yourself of something, then that's the story that you're telling yourself. And for Aquarians, it's like, the story I'm telling myself is the truth, capital T. So I get a little bit of that from this interpretation of the card, but also with the dullness here, and this guy sneaking away from what Emily and I have interpreted to be an enemy camp. It kind of seems like there's the energy of taking from the enemy and dulling their resources, dulling their powers, or even just feeling bored yourself, feeling your own internal boredness, dullness, and going, I need to just go out and fuck some shit up, because that's just I need something fun to do. So there's a little bit of both, a little bit of all of those energies there. What do you get, Em?
That's such an angle, thinking about like, I'm bored. I need to go fuck some shit up. Super Aquarius, Gemini, like mental realm I'm feeling. But
Mm-hmm.
really what I'm getting for this whole moon cycle and the other placements that are happening for the Aquarius full moon is that we need to go inside our beautiful electric meatball brains and find the places where we still have internalized misogyny and internalized patriarchy that's putting us in competition with other women. Like, I'm really getting this strong for this moon in particular, that it is time to look at betrayal wounds and like the backstabbing and shit talking, and really clear that out. So whatever's manifested on this Aquarius full moon, like maybe we'll be ruminating on a betrayal that happened in our lives, or maybe we'll be shit talking somebody in our heads it's time to really notice that and take the tools away from the enemy camp. Like, take the tools away from your brain, change that, reroute that shit so that we're not aiming our weapons at other women or other light working humans just because that's how our conditioning set us up.
Yeah, or like using our tools to try to like refine the past or to attack in the past. You know, our present is our point of power. I
Yes.
say this all the time when I'm doing tarot and oracle card readings. Our present is our point of power. So if you're living in the past, which is something that I was actually doing while I was making my avocado toast, because I was thinking about how I want to be opening a shop, and I'm thinking about somebody that I almost opened a business with, and just all the things that went down, and had this imaginary conversation, like returning to relationship with them and just feeling like, yeah, that's the reason. Yes, I remember the reason why it didn't work out and why, you know, this wasn't a thing. But, you know, she was a person in my life who I was very close to, and there is definitely betrayal wounds there. So it's funny that I was like tapping into your message while I was making my avocado toast before we even, you know, turned our mics on. But that's also, I think, you know, we were saying before we started recording that uh, it's also really a part of the being in the age of Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a millennial, you might also have your Saturn in Aquarius, and your Saturn is where you're gonna like cycle back to moments of like, is this how I really want my life to be? So if we're living in, you know, the age of your Saturn at this time, then it's like a very big, like big picture, top down. Is this how we want our world to be? Is this how we want our relationships with women and with power and with the dynamics of community to be? And I love that you brought that like very big picture view to this, because it does help to go, you know, I need to rewrite some of my stories, not in terms of like having playing these imaginary conversations out in my head, but going, I'm really glad that that happened so that, you know, I could have better relationships with women now. And whew, it's back in the past. I'm back in the present. I
Exactly.
get to, you know, love people as they are now.
Yeah. The point of power is in the present. It's like my favorite. I know Louise Hay didn't come up with it, but it's one of my favorite affirmations. She shares a lot. Yeah. And I'm seeing too, as we're talking about it and really fleshing it out, that like when we're in circumstances where we see, like, oh, there are weapons here. Like, there are weapons about to be aimed at me, or someone's aiming a weapon at themselves, or something is about to be weaponized, defenses are
Mm.
up. How can I be real slick and cheeky and magically metaphysical with my Aquarius energy, wherever it is, and just like snatch the harm away? How can I just snatch the harm away from these situations that I find myself in now? Love it. Love it for all of us, actually.
Yeah. 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 For sure.
Cool. All right, y'all. That's your Moonifesting for Aquarius to full moon on Friday, August 8th. Do your duty to yourself. Mostly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do your due diligence on behalf of your own betterment, on behalf of your own, you know, connection to what is better for you.
Yes. And what's better for you is better for all of
Is
us.
better for us. Yeah. Please do better for you so we can all benefit.
Right.
Let's
Exactly.
go.
Oh my God. Yeah. On the other side of just like not harming each other is actually celebrating each other and lifting each other up. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah. We can't always be focused on, like who we're not giving our attention to. Like, I'm ignoring this person on purpose. I'm ignoring this part of myself on purpose
Yeah.
because it's mean and angry and, you know, mean girl shit.
Yes.
We have to be like, I choose to sit at this table in the cafeteria with these wonderful people, and this is where I'm focusing my attention. I celebrate that.
Oh my God. Yeah. Love that. Not going to war with the mean girl table. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm at home at all the tables. Really? Mm. Well, actually, segue to our main topic for today. The fake meat and potatoes of it all is Venus. Ah,
we
yeah.
we Venus.
So freaking huge. I honestly wonder sometimes why we don't identify with our Venus more than our sun sign. Because it's like the center of all of your values. And just imagine with me for a moment living in a world where instead of centering our ego, our sun, we centered our values and
Mm.
we identified so much more deeply with our values, with our Venus. Like, oh,
Ooh, yeah, and we're all just like approaching each other from that place of like, I'm not so much me as I am we. Like, we share the value of respect. We share
right.
the value of authenticity. And so I'm just a part of us.
So yummy. It's so different. And I think, especially feeling in my feminine, it appeals to me so much more than what we have going on right now, which is it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Ugh. So what do we want to talk about first? You want to hear about how Venus was born? Because this is truly horrific.
I mean, are there other options?
No.
Okay, let's go then.
Okay. All right. So really and truly, Saturn, who's a Titan, was asked by Gaia to castrate his father, known as Uranus. Okay. The drama.
Okay.
So Saturn does this and mutilates Uranus so that he can no longer have children, and his semen falls into the ocean and starts foaming, and out of the sea foam is born Venus or Aphrodite in the Greek. What?
Wait, what? I'm like, I have so many questions already. I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Why? Why did Gaia want Uranus castrated?
Okay, because he was being a huge asshole, a giant dickhead, and imprisoning his children within Gaia, who is the mother.
Oh.
So she's
Okay.
like, no. One of our boys, you need to do something about it. And the only one willing to do something was Saturn, which is
Was
also kind of
Saturn.
an interesting little key when we think about Saturn's sort of on the ground material world ability to get it done.
Yeah, and Saturn being the one like willing to make some freaking moves to shake things up.
Yeah.
But okay, she was like, you're mistreating your children and you're using me to do it. Let me just take care of that. Let me just have somebody take care of that.
No more kids for you.
No
You're
more kids
getting
for you.
fixed, bud. And
But also, in reality, semen and ocean, new kid, Aphrodite, Venus.
right. And like a total sidebar, side quest, but the way that a lot of things reproduce in the ocean is kind of like that, just by like, the coral just goes poof, I'm releasing my egg parts, and the other ones go poof, I'm releasing my semen parts, and now we're creating life just floating around in particles. And that's how Venus was born.
Wow. Talk about absent parents.
Yeah, literally. Right. And she was born fully grown and fully nude in a scallop shell, just like the Botticelli painting.
Yes.
Totally normal.
The birth of Venus, right,
Yeah,
from the sea foam she rose. Okay. Okay.
exactly.
Why the ocean? Is that a part of Venus's story? And
It is. There's like some lore along her mythology, like her lovers will turn into sea anemones or, just other oceany things. And what I'm getting from that is just that if we're agreeing the ocean is female, that water is feminine, that it's like the depth, the emotional, the abyss, then okay, I can get with it.
right,
Yeah.
because water and cups and emotions. Yes. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But just
Okay.
the sheer violence of her birth is so shocking to me. And then to have this like pure goddess energy goddess that comes out of getting snipped.
Right. And it's like, okay, so this guy abusing children, abusing Gaia, abusing a goddess
Yeah.
and the earth, to in order, like, in conjunction with abusing their children, gets castrated by one of their children, all of their uh, semen, all of their like children making particles goes into the ocean and creates the goddess of love and relationships.
What? Yeah, I know.
Who wrote this?
some some guy, definitely drunk.
Some drunk guy, some high guy.
Right. And so, like, between the Greeks and the Romans, Venus is agreed upon that, like, she's the goddess of love, of romance, of fertility. And then there's some discrepancy around if she's also the goddess of prosperity, crops, and agriculture, and prostitution, interestingly enough.
Hmm.
So, I'm kind of like, we can put that all together: prosperity, abundance, the feminine, love, beauty, romance. Like, it's a lot of things.
It's a lot of things, and it's hard for my brain to make these connections, but I think it's also because, we live in a different time. We're from a different time
Yeah.
than these mythologies were created in. So it's sometimes difficult to go, how did you guys make that leap? But it's not for us to say. We get to evolve and interpret. I mean, there's in a D&D real play show that I watch on Dropout TV on Dimension 20. It's called Fantasy High. The gods in that pantheon change based on the believers of the god. So at some point, there's the goddess of the moon who uh, a lot of elves in like their current time believe in, and they're like the high elves. So the goddess is very very hoity and very like upright and proper, but has some moments where she fights with like a werewolf side of her, and it's because the old version of her in the pantheon was like goddess of the moon, wild mistress who howls in the
Yeah.
night. And so it's interesting how, like, in that story, there's an evolution of that goddess that takes place. And I'm just thinking about, you know, these gods and goddesses too, as we connect them with the planets. You know, they get to evolve too, and they get to, you know, while they have their origin, weird origin stories.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
we get to, you know, create an evolved version of what they represent to us and what they look like for us as we, you know, play with their energies and we develop relationships with those planets that hold those energies. So
Yeah.
very interesting, and also, you know, you take the meat and leave the bones, you know.
Exactly. Right. And it's curious to see and to sort of drop the thought experiment in of who is Venus, what mythology would be assigned to her now. And
Mm-hmm.
knowing too that she came from Inanna and Ishtar and like these original goddesses, like the OG goddesses. And I think what you're saying too, that the goddess takes on the characteristics of their followers, like obviously that's what it is, because we're talking about um, universal energies that are just egregores, like something that we create because a bunch of people believe it. So all this time, the goddess has really just been the goddess,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like all of it. And that is why when we look at Venus, it's like, oh, she has all of these qualities. I didn't even mention in Sparta, she was a goddess of war as well, of course, because that's what they were into.
Yeah, I mean, you can translate anything however you like to suit. I think it's interesting in this conversation about Venus how we can really, I mean, you know, when we talked about Mars, we got into how, like, you know, it's kind of different, but in Venus it's so, with Venus it's so different because it's like, how did you go from love and romance to war? I mean, I understand that some people are like, love is a battlefield, you know, all is fair in love and war. We do have all of these very sort of prescriptive sayings that are assigned to our understandings of love. And also, I, you know, we have like the political that is introduced at different points in these gods and goddesses lives. And like, you know, like we were saying, they change based on the followers. I mean, I imagine that at that point, when she became a goddess of war for whatever reason, that the reason was because some politician needed the followers of Venus to believe that a war was necessary in order to get them on board and to get like an entire society on board with, you know, love and war being associated. So I'm just like, you know, I wonder what the historical context is, because I'm not so good at history. I'm trying to get better. I'm
Yeah.
really not, but that's what I would imagine happened. Is somebody needed to wield Venus and their followers, her followers, for evil and not for good.
Yeah. And use her as perhaps a scapegoat to start a war, which is in the mythology. Troy, like the Trojan War, this is basically all because of Aphrodite. If we remember, yeah, right. I know.
Okay, more please.
More,
Tell
please.
us. Tell us the story.
Spill it. I'm spilling the tea. So when I talked about this, maybe in a podcast, maybe we were just talking. I don't know. But there's this goddess I love, the goddess of discord. And she goes to this person, Paris, who's a Trojan prince, not to get confused with the place. His name is Paris, and gives him a golden apple and says, award this to the most beautiful goddess. Choose the fairest goddess and give them this golden apple. And then she's like, later, suckers. You're about to embarrass yourselves. And before him is, oh gosh, Hera, Aphrodite, and Artemis. And they each promise him, I'll promise you unlimited power. I promise you unlimited wisdom. I promise you, this is Venus now, or Aphrodite, I promise you the most beautiful woman in the world. So, of course, guess who he gives the fucking apple to? He wants the most beautiful woman in the world. So he's like, you're the most beautiful, Aphrodite, Venus. Everyone agrees. You're perfect.
He didn't care about no wisdom
or power. Yeah.
or power. He was like, I just want a hottie on my arm.
I want a girlfriend. So that happens. And now, pretty much, Aphrodite helps Paris abduct Helen, who I think, yeah, she's already married to a Spartan king. So they steal her and bring her back to Troy. And thus, the Trojan War ensues. For love, y'all, love. But mind you, this is not love. And then she pops in and out of battle to save her Paris and, you know, someone and someone. Right. It's nepotism.
It's so cringe. It's so cringy.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people will say too that Aphrodite is goddess of infidelity. And I think when people are saying prostitution, like sometimes that's what they mean. Not just sex work, but she's just traditionally not loyal to her partners. And she is the goddess of love. And there's lust there. And she hooks up with a lot of gods and mortals. And has a lot.
Good for her.
Yeah. Her most famous child really being the child she has with Ares or Mars, Cupid, aka Eros. So what happens when we have, the goddess of love and beauty and abundance and the god of war? They have a baby and it creates Eros, which is like life force energy. Kind of interesting. But
so Venus was polyamorous.
As fuck. OG.
OG poly as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that also begs the question for me, like, how do our associations with Venus, the planet, become connected to values? Because I think a lot of people would say those are some bad values if you don't have like loyalty or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Which, you know, for polyamorous folks who are like, you know, I'm loyal to, you know, my own principles, and I'm telling people, I'm communicating with them very clearly about, you know, what I want and what is available to them through relationship with me. But integrity looks different for everybody in terms of like what values are. And yeah, I'm real curious about that transition.
Yeah, exactly. Right. How do we go from the full grown goddess who is happily and like openly slutting about, to Venus, our values and what matters to us? And really, like, the song is just playing through my head. 'Cause I would do anything for love. And like, that's the energy, really. That's the energy of Venus, is just, here's what I really value. And like, this is what I would do anything for. This is what really, really matters to me. And I'm like centering my world on, and centering my connections on too, because what matters to me needs to at least be acknowledged by the people that are close to me, even if we don't share the
Mm.
exact same values.
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that, are the
Exactly.
lyrics. So it's like boundaried love.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Anytime you say you want one thing, you're saying you don't want something else. Like,
Yeah.
a boundary is created. So when we look at Venus in our charts, you can imagine that inside of you, you have this like part that is a goddess who gives zero flying fucks about what anyone has to say about her dalliances and what she chooses to do. And so she follows her desire, just kind of ravenously and according to her own set of rules. So when we're looking at our Venus, obviously start with the sign that it's in. And that's going to give you a lot of hints as to what's important to you,
Start with what?
what sign it's in.
Oh, what sign it's in? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm assuming you have a Venus in Pisces, true? Or Aries? Yeah. Okay. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like following my desires is very much following the childlike and following the selfish.
Yeah. Right. More interested in individuation and self mastery than, say, another sign like Taurus, that is interested in like the true Venusian ideals of like languishing and seducing and really wanting like soft ease. Love it.
Right. I was going to say, like, a Venus in Taurus is very much like, I'm going to create, like, the perfect home base for love to be, cradled. And you're just going to have to come to me. Like,
Right.
you're going to have to come to where I've built the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Just send out the beacon and come. The kind of mean trick, not really. I'm sure this is exactly how it should be, about our Venus placement is that it's always 45 degrees from our sun. So that's how it's like easy for me to guess. Okay, your Venus is either in Pisces or Aries because I know your sun sign.
Okay.
But this also forms a semi square. So it's sort of a frictiony area. So there are going to be parts of our ego that are in disagreement with our values. And that's baked in to our astrology.
Good. Great. At least I'm not crazy.
Yeah, right. If you take anything away from this episode, we're not crazy. Just my Venus is 45 degrees away from my sun. Okay.
At all times.
Always.
Fortunately, unfortunately.
All of the above.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Whoopsie and yay.
Yeah. And so a lot of astrologers believe too that as we get really, really clear on our value system based on our Venus and acknowledge that tough aspect with our sun, that you can tap into like your real abundance codes here in Venus, like the real way that you make bank, that you have legacy, that you have ease, because you're actually just very, very in line with your desire. Sounds really yummy, doesn't it?
It really, really does. And in case nobody's heard of this before, astrocartography will show you places in the world where certain aspects of your life will be more pronounced, or more pronounced. And I am considering moving to the place where my Venus line crosses, and it's like it's becoming stronger and stronger for me. So just to like be reminded of that at
Yeah.
this time in my life, where I'm like following my desire as though it's like the only thing that's going to make me satiated, the only thing that's going to fill this hunger and this empty belly. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's resonating hard. Oh, and I'm wearing my rhodochrosite and shell necklace.
Nice.
And rhodochrosite is a very loving heart centered energy.
I love that. Oh my God. Perfect. And a seashell, just a tip
And
of
a seashell.
yeah.
Oh. Not on purpose. Absolutely not on purpose. I just saw the necklace and was like, yeah, I'm wearing that today.
I love that.
Well, dang.
Yeah. So the astrocartography angle is so fun too. I feel like a lot of people might be like, oh, go move to your Venus line to find love. But like, we can talk about so much more than just finding romantic love. It's like one flavor at the ice cream shop. We're talking about
Yeah.
chasing values, not tail.
Right. I mean,
Uh,
when I've looked at my Venus line and the sort of description that it gives, I've always been like, oh, that's where I need to move if I'm going to be successful in my business, because it's
Dang.
like the place where like people will like really see you and flock to you because you are so present in all of your values and all of your like the expression of everything that is important to you and everything that you're like meant to be doing, your passions, your purpose. So it's also interesting too to like cross those lines of like, people are not going to be encountering my ego, they're not going to be encountering my sun, they're going to be encountering my Venus in that
Hot.
place. And that's what's so attractive.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like the key Venus quality: attraction, magnetism, like the real feminine sauce there, that's like not afraid to take up space, to be seen, to ask for what she wants, to go for what she wants. It's got like a lot of gravity. It's super yummy. I love it.
Yeah, and to be so like well boundaried in your values and your desires. That's, I mean, some other magic. That's like an entirely other magic.
Yeah, I know. That's like when we get to Saturn and we talk about how our limitations are actually our portals to creativity, but also it's part of it. It's definitely part of it. So, embodying a Venus, how do we even? I think the key is actually in the boundaries, is getting super, super clear on what it is that you give a flying fork about, and then saying no to everything that doesn't align with it. Like real sacred no's.
Reels, I was going to say getting truly aligned with your sacred no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, as you know, is one of my fortes now.
Right. I'm
I've
remembering.
worked on it.
Yeah. No, no, no. You just sent me a screenshot of a little notebook page you had scribbled on about helping me with an alignment session, like a
Yeah.
clarity session. I was like, I don't know what I want. I don't know what I'm doing. And you helped me really clue in on my value.
It was a Mama Gina like what are they called? Swamping? It was
Spring
a
clean, maybe.
spring clean. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And coming away with understanding, like, okay, here's what I stand for, here's what's important to me. I remember at the time I was like, oh my God, I gotta like say no to a lot of things that are in my life right now. I need to actually give my sacred no, like I do to cheese. Like it's so easy for me to say no to cheese. Like, ugh, it's just insanely disgusting to me. I know what it does to my body. I know what it does to my skin. I'm just like, oh no, 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 no. No. Simple.
Easy
But
no.
right. But the things that still kind of have hooks in us that like we want it all. We want to just maybe have a little bit of this other thing that we know is out of alignment for us. This thing I don't really care about, but I said yes to because it's those that are more innocuous that are even more seductive to an imbalanced Venus, really, that like wants to be loved and adored and seen, but can't do anything for love. You can't do that.
Right. I can't do anything for love. Like, I'll do anything for the kind of love that feels most aligned for me.
Yes.
So, therefore, I won't do that.
Yes. We're rewriting all of your favorite love songs.
Here on Smut Podcast.
I
Yeah, I
actually love
mean,
that.
we kind of have to again with the rewriting of stories. I think that's like a theme for this episode here.
Yeah. In all episodes, we are rewriting the stories. Like,
Hmm.
if we were to leave our own Venus myths, what would it be? She relentlessly pursued her desire for what? Like, what really gets it up for you? That's the question for all of us when we're looking at our Venus.
Yeah, what is your relentless pursuit of? And like on behalf of what?
Yeah.
You
What's
know?
your why?
Because it's not like, we just have hooks in us that are pulling. Like there's a rod that it's attached to, and that's our integrity. And the integrity doesn't move. We do. We
Mhm.
have to find our way back to our values and our integrity if we are to live the most heart centered, fully soul centered lives. And yeah, I think getting to know you, getting to
Yeah.
know your Venus, getting to know all about your Venus is very helpful for kind of reeling yourself back in so that the universe doesn't have to fucking do it for you. Because
Yeah.
that's when it really hurts.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to have to get slapped up the side of the head with the universe because you decided to keep your Moldavite on and do something stupid and out of alignment. Mhm.
Wow, that sounds personal.
Not yet. It hasn't happened yet. I'm just like, I actually, when I know I'm about to do something that's out of alignment, I take it off.
You're like, you can't see this. I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're not invited to this chapter. It's
You can't be
cool.
a part of this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm watching that though. You know what I mean? It's been
Mm.
on for a while. But yeah, when we're looking at the sign, first of all, I'll mention a couple things here, a little bit of technicals. So Venus is in its exaltation when it's in Pisces, and it's in its detriment when it's in Virgo. So Venus in Virgo is like a little bit of a tougher placement. Okay, fine, because you're
Why? What
probably,
for?
well, my thought is that you're so much in focus, so much focused. Hang on, let me collect my words.
So
You're so
focused.
focused
Uh-huh.
on serving as a Virgo do that you're having trouble finding how you can serve yourself and like what it is
Mm.
that you really care about for you, like in the most selfish way. So the selfishness for Virgo might actually be the detriment in Venus. You're not selfish
Ooh.
enough.
Right. There's
Yeah.
like a selfish and selfless axis, and Virgo is on one end, and Pisces, weirdly enough, is on the other. I feel like Pisces for me would be the most selfless, but I think it's because um, I associate with Pisces the martyr story of like
Right.
I will give my whole self to somebody else's desires, and I think there's a major selfishness in that of like I'm doing this for me, really. I'm doing this so I can have a better relationship with you, not so that you can get whatever you want, but so that I can get what I want. Actually, secretly I'm being incredibly selfish
Yeah.
when I'm being a Piscean martyr.
I love that. That's hilarious. Yes. I know. And when I think about it, kind of blows my mind that Pisces is the exalted Venus because I would assume it would be Taurus or Libra that Venus
Libra,
ruled,
yeah. Right.
but it's not because Pisces actually has that, like, I want it all, sort of the highest vision of unconditional love, the closest you can get to unconditional love on earth.
And Pisces, okay, yes, unconditional love as in like Pisces is the 12th house. It comes at the
Hmm.
very end, so it has all of the wisdom of old age essentially,
Yeah.
where you're like, "Oh, now I understand unconditional love." But also Pisces, I feel uh is the astrological water sign that is most associated with the ocean.
Yeah. Yes. Cool. Yeah.
So it's like that's where Venus was born, that's where Venus came from. So, yeah, no, I'm getting it now. Okay, I get it now.
Right. Yeah, there's something there. There's something really cool there.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so let's look at houses. When you have your Venus in a particular house, your values are going to be magnified in that place in your life. So, for instance, if you have a Venus in the 12th house, you're going to be way more interested in like collective value vision than you would be if you were a Venus in the first house, which then it would be kind of like, oh, I am my values. My identity is based on my values. You're giving a funny face for that.
I'm going to look up mine
Oh,
because
yeah.
you're having me go, ooh, Aries
Hmm.
is already a little bit selfish. It's right next to Pisces, so yeah, it's defo selfish.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm also like, okay, what house? Ninth house,
Okay.
which is
Little higher
that on the
self.
others? Okay, and it's just on the selfless side of that axis there. So it's kind of like across from where Aries lives, which might be why I struggle with. I mean, you could tell me if I'm like interpreting this accordingly, but it might be why I have trouble with like figuring out the balance between like giving to myself and giving to others, like acts of service that are just to kind of like relieve some kind of tension for other people so I can get back to my selflessness
Huh.
versus I mean selfishness so I can get back to like being there for myself. I'm gonna act of service for you so I can go and fuck off and just be in my own little world doing what I want versus doing what I want as an act of service to the world and as a kind of like the selfish as service,
Yeah. I
service
can
to a
see the
cause
tension.
greater than self.
Oh yeah. I can see the tension there. And
Hmm.
that really like sums up the Venus and Pisces selfishness too.
Mm-hmm.
Really well summed up. I'm going to help you so I can go fuck off and go back to my world. Thank you. Because what I value the most really is like my freedom and flow and connection to the spiritual.
Expansiveness, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I really want to be connected to you as an individual, but I'm so expansive. I don't even know. I'm just a big old whale shark and you're like, a little amoeba and I'm like I'm swimming with you, but I don't know that I can give you everything. Like I can't really give you all of my attention. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
amoeba.
Like, not to make this all about Pisces, but let us, anyways. Just kidding. But it's worth mentioning the Pisces constellation. It's like two nodes at the end of two lines that form an angle together, is a representation of Aphrodite, Venus, and Eros's escape from Mount Olympus,
Mm.
where like Zeus was on some fucking rampage about some fucking thing and they had to escape. So they transformed themselves into fish and tied themselves together
And
and
went in opposite directions.
flowed down. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So you can also see that there's like an
Tension.
element in Venus and Pisces around being entangled, and Eros, honestly, because that's an asteroid. Like, who are we entangling ourselves with, and do they share our values? And please, for the love of the goddess, extend this, all ye listeners, to more than romantic relationships.
Yeah, please. Because I'm thinking about, if it's entanglement with Eros, with life force,
Yeah.
then, it's like, who are you giving your life force energy to? It might be your parents. It might be, a mentor or a mentee. It might be your children. It might be any number of like the varieties of relationships that we can have. And, how deeply we romanticize them and we put on those rose colored glasses on it, like, in terms of not seeing them for what they really are or not treating them as they truly are. Um, determines how much life force energy is drained from us versus renewed to us and replenished in us. Because there's different kinds of romanticizing. I mean, you can romanticize with those rose colored glasses, or you can romanticize as in like describing the mundanity of the world in only the most beautiful terms. you know?
Right.
So seeing the beautiful simplicity of a relationship that you've been in for 30 years that, you know, might feel stale if not for appreciation and gratitude, you know, those kinds of things being romantic. So yeah, like paying attention to you and your life force entangled with the relationships that either give or drain your life force energy. It's very important.
Well said. I'm taking that in. Mm. Yeah. Ooh.
Slurp,
And
slurp.
right, like what a nice frame on the word romanticizing too, because that is Venus's job, like romanticizing your whole life because you're just doing your values and that's it. So of course your whole life is exactly the way you want it in the most poetic, idealistic way that we can have it. And that is romance. Romance doesn't have to be a flower and a bended knee and whatever else we think that it is. Like if I searched on a stock photo website, what would I get for romance? Like flower petals on the bed. Okay, heard.
Right. Can't lit candles around a bathtub. Yes.
Yeah, not
But
necessarily.
romance, I mean, romance can be like, you know, sitting after closing up shop in a place that you know, created yourself and going, ah, this is mine. This is ours. This is more than I thought it would be and better than I could have ever imagined. Again, like that kind of gratitude and appreciation can be like the simplest access point to romanticism in anything that you have a relationship, anything or anyone that you have a relationship with in your life.
And it's abundance code number one. And
Gratitude.
that is Venus. So being able to
Mm.
romanticize everything that you have already, it's like giving a little bit of Marie Kondo to the energy of your life. Like, oh, I'm so grateful for my closet full of clothes, even though there's none that I want to wear. Just letting everything have that kind of romantic gratitude does attract so much more abundance into our world than looking at it from disdain and lack, right? Obviously. And it makes you feel better. So why would you not? Doesn't make sense. Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, thoughts and questions on Venus, Venus placements, embodying Venus.
Mm. I think a lot of people uh, would want to know the answer to, are there any bad Venus placements, or are there any bad um, relationship? Because I mean, a lot of people are going to us, you know, while we just got done saying, you guys, that it's not just about relationships and romance. I'm channeling and tapping into the collective when I say people are going to wonder about romance and uh you know, romantic and sexual relationships. So are there good pairings? Are there bad pairings? And what do we do about it when we when we encounter that? Or like even separate question, you were saying that we should be looking more at our Venus than our sun even. Do you think, as an astrologer, that when people are looking for synastry in relationships, like we talked about in the love languages episode, when we're looking at synastry, should we be more focused on Venus as like the first thing we look at instead of people's sun signs?
Mm, great questions. First of all, there is no bad Venus sign. I did say that Venus in Virgo is at a detriment. It just means like might be a little harder here. It's just like so opposite. It does not mean it's impossible. And for all of you with a Venus in Virgo, think about how you have learned to titrate the service to others to be in service to yourself, and you're going to find the values in there. And when we're looking at synastry between Venus signs, like, of course, right? When you go on a date with someone, you want to have similar values. Like, how many of us would stay with someone that had totally opposite political beliefs or totally opposing ideas about children? Or, you know, like, even if you really value, like, for me, my Venus in my sixth house is about my health and the health of my wealth. It wouldn't make sense for me to partner with someone who didn't give a shit about their health and didn't give a shit about their wealth and wealth building. Like, that's a quick way to kind of sabotage your Venus, is to be unboundaried with who you decide to spend the majority of your time with if you're talking about romantic partnership. And if you're talking about friends, coworkers, bosses, employees, etc., absolutely knowing their Venus is like understanding what's important to them. So, as we talked about with love languages, if you want to show an employee appreciation, I would want to know what their Venus is and just be like, oh, okay. Oh, Venus in Leo, like they want to be seen. They want some attention on them to show that like I do see them.
They do want to wear the birthday girl crown and sash. They do. They really do.
Yeah. Right. Like they may be a Virgo on top with their sun sign, but the Leo, the
Yes. The
Venus
Venus and
Leo that
Leo,
is the crown.
right. The sun sign might fight it, but the Venus is going to be like, yes. Okay, give it to me. Okay.
Yeah.
Ah.
Ah. And you have to bring
Yeah.
me back to your last question because I lost it.
Um I think you answered it because we were talking about like should we pay more attention
Mm.
to our Venus than our sun sign. You definitely tied it up in there. And um what I was also getting from your response is something that needs to be framed for people, which is like, you know, you don't have to look at everybody's Venus sign to understand if you have synastry with them. You really don't. You just have to know yours. You have to know yourself. You have to really get into that Venus version of yourself who is so clear about their desires, because if you go on a date with somebody, you don't need to go, I need your birth information. You need to call your mother right now and see what time you were born and exactly where longitudinally, latitudinally on this earth so I can
Yeah.
find out more about you. You just need to know your own values. You need to feel deep resonance with your sacred no. What is the thing that if you hear any sign of, disharmony with your own values and your own integrity, what are you going to just feel in your body? That's a no for me, dog. And be able to, at the end of a date, say to somebody, thank you so much for this lovely conversation and this lovely time. I understand. I know, capital K, know that this is not going to work out because we don't have
Yeah.
the same values. and I can end this here. You have to be so clear on that, and you have to be so clear that you can let go of any sort of desperation or like passionate interest in being having perfect synastry with somebody, having perfect harmony with somebody, or just being with somebody because you don't love yourself enough and you don't invest in your own desires enough. And I know that, like Emily's face said everything, loving yourself enough. Ooh, there's such like a bully quality to like calling that out of like, you need to not you need to love yourself enough so that you're not desperate to say yes to anybody who smells nice and is tall, okay? I'm speaking to women now.
That's so funny. And why did I just hear a like biologist talking about how women specifically have a scent receptor and they can smell compatibility, and men just smell. Like, yeah, it matters for them too, but like we're really able to sniff out compatibility. Trust your nose. The nose knows.
The nose knows. And if you have a really solid understanding of like, this is what I want for my life, this is what I want out of living this life in partnership with somebody else, then the no's are going to come so easily. And I'm always telling people, the more you say yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and the more comfortable you get with saying no, because you know that's the right thing to do and you don't hold off on it, you just fucking do it, the sharper that edge becomes, and the better the universe and your guides and your ancestors have that chance to give you what you actually want. When you were loosey fucking goosey on your Venus, then they're gonna give you the loosiest gooses,
Right. Wild geese.
the wildest geese. And is that what you want? Do you want just anything? Probably not. You probably want that one person that you're looking for, or that one collective set of friend group that you are looking for. You have to know, and you have to know it, and you have to trust it when you feel it. When you feel that
Yeah.
yes, and when you feel that sacred no.
Right. That's the time to embody Aphrodite, who's like, I'm married, but Aries, the god of war, is here, and I want it, and I can, and I'll have it. So here we go. It's in alignment with my integrity. I'm going to go for it.
This is, I think Mars, Aries, is going to tell us, how we take action and
Mhm.
how we fuck and how we fight. But Venus is going to tell us why.
Yeah.
Venus is going to help us ground in our values so that we know when we show up to fuck or fight, we're like, okay, this is now I know which path to take.
Yeah. I love it. And I'm thinking of this like real world example of a moment when I was vetting someone for their values. And we were talking about practicing some high magic together. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to get all the way in there because you're asking me for something like really huge. And I want to know what you're about. And when I looked under the hood and I asked them, what is your why? What is your why for practicing this type of magic together and creating all of this energy? And got nothing. And I was like, oh, that is so severely misaligned with my need for my Venus in Pisces in the sixth to be like, we're doing this for a reason. And like, there's a higher ideal that we can all ascend to. Like, let's get the whole planet raising the vibration. And their answer was like, because it's fun. And I was like, no.
Because it seems cool.
Yeah, no, no, no. No, 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 thank you. Doesn't work for me. It's that simple. And then, like, when you're really, really aware and rooted and grounded in your values, the no's do come a lot easier. If you're someone who is recovering from people pleasing, as we are all in recovery from people pleasing, so, laughter, then your nose might feel fraught with all kinds of issues. Like, if I say no, I'll be abandoned. If I say no, then they won't like me. If I say no, no. But really, your no's are helping you stay where you need to be. And that's where the magic is, just to be in your own beautiful lane. Because, like, your astrology chose you. You chose your astrology both ways. So go do it.
Yeah. And if your no feels fraught and your people pleasing is still so pleasy that you will just do whatever somebody else wants you to because it's just easier to continue on in relationship with somebody that way, but you want to break out of it and you want to become better at being able to determine, like, when your body tells you no, how to cultivate the externalization of that no so that you can communicate it, so that you can set that boundary, because you can set a boundary energetically. I was in a group of friends who were like, you can set things energetically and you can talk to people's higher selves, and your higher self can talk to their higher self, and that does some of the work. But also externalization is a really big part of it, and people are going to be confused if you don't communicate with them like the adult that you are. So,
Thank
if you need help with that and you want to create change in there, I highly recommend joining Emily's group, joining Emily's space, because she has been doing embodiment circles, which is a play off of mistress circles, that are from the book Unbound by Kaji Urbanic. And Emily is an incredible, empowering leader in the spaces of, like, helping people to move into those uncomfortable zones where you do have to start to say and externalize your dreams, your fears, your desires, your hell yeses, your fuck nos, your icks, and to, like, be able to say the quiet parts out loud, so much so that those quiet parts start to become more known to you and start to speak to you on a regular basis, instead of staying real quiet and awkward and uncomfortable even around you. Your own desires are uncomfortable around you.
Oh no.
Sad. Yeah, come on, let's get out of there. Let's be, oh, come on.
Yeah.
I highly recommend getting into Emily's spaces, because while I've been able to get a lot of work done in women's circles, being in this particular circle has really just, evolved so much of the work that I've already done. Like, it's alchemized it on a whole other level.
That's so hot. Thank you for saying that. I love that. Yeah. And let it be known.
A whole clavicle for you.
Showing off some clavicle. Yeah, let it be
Just a little
known
clav.
that those embodiment circles are just as much of a growing edge for me too. Like, the projection protection round that we just did, I was like, fuck, I am just out here. I'm not even a projector in manifesting design, but you would think I was, because damn.
I mean, and we were working through it together. You and I were like
Yeah.
the sole, participants in this round, and I'm a projector.
Yeah.
So you were absolutely feeling feeling some of that pressure from, my key way of living.
So
But
fun.
yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, actually, this is making me feel like the next round of embodiment circle could be Venus based, which would be super fun. Like, if I was really a goddess, I would.
Don't tempt me with a good time, with a really uncomfortable, difficult, challenging, wonderful, empowering time. Don't tempt me,
Yeah, we
but
love it
also
like
tempt
that.
me and tease me.
Right, and there's your Aries, Venus Aries, that's like DTF.
But also tease me.
Yeah, down to play, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Venus, freaking huge.
Huge. Yeah.
Okay, Miss KellyAnne, what you got coming up?
Uh,
August. Well, yeah, in August.
yeah, I think um, we'll be just getting to the tail end of the Getting Unstuck series, and as we close up and we wrap up, there are going to be a lot of opportunities for not only self-reflection but community reflection, um, and then we're going to get into a little bit of a break so that we can enter the fall, enter the autumn season with a new, very spicy um, iteration, a new series that is yet to be determined, yet to be determined aloud,
Cool.
um, but is definitely in the works and definitely cooking.
Love that. Very tantalizing, tempting, and teasing plug for something spicy in the future. We love an integration moment.
Yeah,
And
got
that,
to. I'm here for the slow journey. I'm not here for like bashing and crashing through all of my traumas and triggers. I'm just not.
thank you.
Hmm.
It's not my values.
Not my values.
No, in my experience, when we do bash and crash through all of our trauma and triggers, we end up with a little more. So, was it
Yeah.
worth it?
Right. You like end up in the splash zone getting all wet and you're like, "Oh, I could have like given myself time to take a few steps back because I did see this coming."
Yeah. I didn't have to embody it all the way, but my curiosity did get the better of me.
My curiosity certainly killed that cat.
Yeah, just one of the nine lives, so it's fine.
Mhm.
And speaking of integration, in August, I will be coming off of my little international excursion. So it'll be a little bit of integration time and space for my community and my offerings. And yes, there will be two more embodiment circles this year. And I'm thinking mid August to mid September. We'll like catch that Virgo baby. And then we'll do one in between all of the fall and winter holidays that just get so exciting and sticky. Maybe we'll do even a special Yule edition.
I mean, that might be nice because, the embodiment circles are very good for framing how we handle ourselves with other people. And it's
Yeah.
always around the holidays that we're with a lot of other people that we may or may not feel really good around.
Exactly. Yeah. The embodiment circles are a practice space for us to really step into our highest selves and witness what that looks like, witness other people witnessing us, and get to fuck it up a few times, you get to play with the way you want to quit your job in 3 different ways. You get to play with the way that you want to ask your partner something really tender from a submissive state, from a dominant state, from a neutral state. And that's all super helpful. And soon you'll find yourself at your family gathering just gently doming your dad and being like, yeah, that's right. Like, I did just call you out kindly, gently, but this conversation's over, bud.
The number of times that I've gently dommed my dad, in the past couple years since starting this work, I mean, is just chef's kiss. Just like, wow, I took my power back.
Right. I I just had my partner's parents visiting, and we're watching some Bill Nye new show that he has, and he was talking about how procreation helps the human race evolve. And his dad said something about it like, now that's a great reason to have kids. And I'm over here. I have no obligation to the human race to procreate. Just
Right. Yeah, I have absolutely no designs on that type of evolution.
yeah, right. I think we're participating in the evolution of human race by sharing some of the mysteries we're sharing here and by embodying ourselves.
I was gonna say I like the slow journey, but not that slow, because I'm not gonna see the evolution happen in my lifetime. I'm just not.
Right. Right.
If I'm taking that route, this is the route I chose.
Love this route.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, that's been Venus, folks.
That's been Venus, folks. And I also wanted to just plug Kaja Robotics Unbound if you have Spotify Premium. I listened to the whole thing on audiobook. And if you want to like prepare yourself with an understanding of what we mean by domination and submission, which is totally different than I thought it was. I had a whole conversation with my partner about this and was like, actually, and got into submissive and dominant states instead of like the BDSM version that most people are, introduced to. It's very helpful to have a more grounded and more practical, more even like feminine understanding of what those mean. And it's a great primer for really honing your Venus energy so that you can play with your states of desire, of selfishness and selflessness and that kind of thing.
And kind of get all of the wreckage out of the way of your desire. Because as you'll read, if you do choose to embark upon the journey, or if you've read Pussy or anything else, we know, especially in female bodies, that we have been taught to mistrust our desire, like by mythology, by Christian patriarchal mythology, which, by the way, killed Venus. I didn't mention that, but yeah. It's clear that Christianity eliminated goddess worship. The only one we have left is Mary.
And there was a goddess alongside Yahweh in the original texts that was written out. So, goddess was always the pairing and was always a duality that was supposed to be a part of the teachings. And somebody, I think we know who, blank blank, wink wink, erased that goddesshood. So yeah, no wonder we erase ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
We're unerasing ourselves. We are imposing ourselves back into the picture with this work, which is, yeah, super hot. Love it. Love
I
it.
love we're imposing ourselves.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it an imposition on you?
Not sorry. Oh my god. I'm imposing myself.
Right.
Ah,
Flip the script instead of I hate to impose, but I love
I
to
love to
impose.
impose.
So, yeah.
Perfect.
That's your assignment for Venus. Just start saying, I'd love to impose.
Just fall in love with imposing yourself upon the world and your own desires, and letting your desires impose themselves upon you.
Mm. Oh,
Ooh.
yeah. Free flow.
Ah.
On that note, go be goddesses.
Now go impose yourselves upon others. It's